This week I have to give a shout out to Phil from Facebook. See, Phil reached out on the weekend, and I am paraphrasing here. And he said, you know what I would like to see from you guys? I would like to see a video that talks about what Development Products Council wants to encourage into the future, what they want to see into the future. You know me, I love it when people reach out with suggested content ideas, so I jumped at the opportunity. Yeah, I soon regretted that. You see, this is a very, very challenging topic. It's not an easy topic to talk about, but I never shy away from a challenge. I love a good challenge. So today, join me as I look into my crystal ball and tell you what I believe Council wants to see in terms of development products into the future.
Hey guys. Okay, so if you saw the post that we put up earlier, you would have seen that unfortunately our planned filming session got cut short by some unplanned roadworks. So I'm currently between two meetings and I thought, I've got a couple of minutes to spare. I'll just pull over and I'll finish recording the rest of today's video while I've got the chance. So that's why I've suddenly changed scenery in the background here. So what were we talking about? Well, we were talking about what Council wants to encourage, what Council wants to see, what Council wants to promote in terms of development options into the future. Like I suggested in the intro, unfortunately this is a bit of a hard topic for me to talk about because the simple answer is they don't give a damn. They have no interest in trying to encourage or promote certain development options. It's just not in their interest. So I know unfortunately I can't just sit here and say that to you guys. You're just not going to accept it. You want a little bit more detail, a little bit more of a response. So there's probably two things that I can say to help elaborate on that answer or give you a bit more information, I guess I'd say. Point number one. Now I went to a presentation, it's like a year or two ago now, where the Lord Mayor was speaking. And there was something he said that has really, really stuck with me. He got up and he said, Council's role as the local government is not to act as marketeers. I love that word. Like that word, it's such a cool word, marketeers. I can't help but think of meerkats every time I hear it. Don't know why, but for some reason that's where my mind goes. But anyway, he was basically saying it's not Council's responsibility to ensure that developers are profitable and to determine what the next hot thing is going to be in terms of property options in Brisbane. It's not a local government's role or responsibility to essentially do that. What their role and responsibility is to do is to try and achieve ESD. Now, we have talked about this in a previous video. What is ESD? ESD is economically sustainable development. See, in a utopic, is that how you say that word? Utopic? In a utopic world, we would have a perfect balance between the environment, the economy, and the social aspects. So think of it kind of like a triangle. Everything would be equally balanced. Unfortunately, the reality is that's just a dream. You are never, ever going to get an equal balance between all three of those factors. You're always going to have that little triangle tipping in one direction or another. So this is actually what led to the whole blueprint thing at the beginning of last year, I should say. About to say end of last year. What I meant was beginning of last year. Basically, we as the public, I say we because we're all public, the public made it very clear to Council that that triangle had tipped a little bit too far in the economic corner. And what they needed to do was start prioritising or reprioritising the social aspects and the environmental aspects to try and get us that equal balance again. Unfortunately, like I said before, you never get the equal balance. It always ends up tipping from one extreme to the other extreme to the other extreme. And it's that actually leads to the common saying, planning goes in roundabouts. You'll hear it all the time. We're constantly swinging from one idea or concept to the other, round and round and round. So yes, basically what I'm trying to say here is Council will not take on the responsibility, nor should they actually do it, to control the market. That's not their desire. Yes, their decisions indirectly affect the market, and those decisions are all focused on trying to achieve the ESD, the beautiful, utopic, ideally, utopic balance between all three ends of the triangle, as they sort of go through and try and achieve those sort of that equal balance and tip from one to the other. That's naturally going to see them discouraging certain options in terms of products and all of that sort of stuff. So as we've seen since Blueprint, they've really cracked down on the enforcement of the acceptable outcomes when it comes to townhouses. That means that people aren't getting those little bit extra, that little bit of, what am I trying to say here? In the past, the feasibilities were reliant on getting that little bit extra out of each footprint. So a little bit extra site cover, a little bit reduced rear boundary setback, all that sort of stuff, because councils had to crack down on that area. And again, I reinforce the fact that they had to go down this path because that's what the public made very clear to them. We're a democratic society, blah, 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 blah. So yes, they had to crack down on that. That naturally meant that these products or these development options suddenly became, I wouldn't say unfeasible. They lost the extra, what am I trying to say here? What made them worthwhile suddenly disappeared, so people are now naturally turning away from those products. So again, council's not suddenly saying, hey, we want to encourage subdivisions. What they're doing is saying, hey, we need to respond to the social and environmental ideals, and therefore it means we need to start enforcing these acceptable outcomes more stringently, and that naturally means we're turning people away from that product and people are trying to find an alternate product. The alternate product at the moment happens to be the 1 to 2 lot subdivisions. That's what we're seeing people naturally gravitating to. So yeah, I think that covers everything I probably could say in response to that question. Like I said, it's a very hard question to answer because the simple answer is they don't want to encourage any product. That's not their role. Their role is different, but their different role ends up inadvertently leading to certain products being favoured, I guess you'd say. Yeah, I think that's probably all I can say. So, final comment I want to make is if, like Phil, you have a burning question or a topic that you would love for us to cover off, please, please, please send it through, because I love being able to respond to people's direct questions. It means I don't need to sit here and come up with content. Oh, it makes my life so much easier. So, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got 3. Number 1, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site-specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number 2, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number 3, what was my number 3? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.